Hey guys, well, finally going to have a full review on the Benchmade Model 42 Balisong. As I mentioned in previous videos, I talked about it a lot and I showed a lot, but I never really did a review on it. I do have a separate video comparing this to the Spyderco Spiderfly as well as the Benchmade Model 32 Morpho Balisong. This does come in your standard blue box from Benchmade. However, I do not have one in front of me right now. I pack away a lot of the knives I use. I pack away the boxes separate, so I don't have that in front of me right now. But it's just as you would normally see any other blue class Benchmade. That's what this is. It's in the blue class. You do, however, get the sheath with this. Okay, nice nylon sheath. I actually like the sheath quite a bit. It has the option for vertical or horizontal carry here on the belt, which is nice. The Velcro is a good quality Velcro. It's not super sticky where you're struggling getting it up, but it's just enough there. As of course, let me put this back in here to show you. It's obviously a really good fit. Of course, you have the Benchmade logo here on the tag that's sewn in. Overall, very nice sheath. You can actually use this sheath with other model knives, but it was meant for the Balisong. Onto the knife itself. This one has a spring latch, so all you have to do is squeeze the handles together, pops that latch open. The latch is a form of a lock to keep the knife closed. Okay, so it will not open when this latch is closed like this. Now, I did mention this is a spring latch. This is somewhat new to Benchmade's line. Only a couple years old. Previous, they had the regular T-latch, which just kind of free swung back and forth. But this is just a cylinder with almost looks like a mushroom shape. Let me use that magnifying glass lens here to show you this. You see there? Now let me actually show you how this works with the spring latch, because a lot of people are interested in that and they don't really understand how it works. Let me get this to focus. You see here there's a second pin. There's one pin that actually holds your, well, it's hard to do this two hands with the magnifying glass, but your pin here holds the latch in. Okay, that's what's connecting the latch to the handle. The second pin here is where the spring is connected. Let me bring you back in so you can see that, if it'll focus. There we go. So you have a very simple coil spring that's attached to the bottom of the latch. I'm going to get creative here and use my pinky to turn that. Well, it's kind of hard, but basically it's connected to that pin and the bottom of the latch. So when you move the latch, either left or right, you're putting tension on that spring, okay, and you're moving the spring outward. So that's going to want to push back in, which brings it back to the straight position, which is awesome. Very, very simple, very innovative. When you're flipping around, this does not, click and clack back and forth. Even without the spring latch, the Benchmade Model 42 and some of the newer Benchmades, they have this little piece of metal across here, which is known as the latch gate. Now, what a latch gate does is it doesn't allow. Let me get the blade over here. It doesn't allow the latch to come in contact with the blade at any point while you're flipping it open to open or close it. Okay, obviously, so that you don't have any damage on your blade edge or on your latch. If you see a lot of older Balisongs or cheap Balisongs, sometimes they'll lack this very simple piece across. That's known as a latch gate. Okay, so really cool feature here. So that is the spring latch. Very simply, again, squeeze the handles together, and what you're doing is, right now there's tension on the spring because the latch is to the side, as I showed before. And when you squeeze the handles together to put the latch on, there's a cutout here, a round cutout, which matches with the top part of the latch. That just kind of sits in place. And then, of course, when you squeeze them together, it releases that pressure, which springs the latch open. So very, like I said, simple, but very functional, very cool feature on this knife. In opening this knife, you see that it is comprised of two handles and a blade. A lot of people don't see Balisongs as functional working knives. They see them as toys. And to be honest, if they're done right, like this one is, they are extremely functional knives. And actually, the Balisong, in my opinion, as well as many other knife enthusiasts, is that it is single-handedly the most strongest folding lock design there is. Simply because if you just look at the mechanics of it, once the knife's open and you're holding it, there's no way that blade's going to fold. It has nowhere to go. The actual handles, which in this case happen to be titanium, would have to snap. or the blade would have to snap. There's no way this is going to fail on you. It's impossible. So if you really think about it, this is the strongest locking folding knife design out there. And like I said, when you use the right materials, in this case, titanium and a nice quality stainless blade, you have a very functional working knife. And I've actually used the Benchmade Model 42 in the past. Not this specific one, but a previous model. And it works great. And they do come sharp. They come just as sharp as any other Benchmade. Really, really nice. Let me give you some specs here real quick. Actually, let me open that back up and give you something to look at while I kind of read the specs. Actually, you know what? Let me bring my camera up a little bit here, and so you can look at the whole knife. It's a long knife. But anyway, the specs on this, the full overall length, as you see here open, is 9.4 inches. It has a 4.2 inch blade and a 5.2 inch handle. Or in the closed position, it's 5.2 inches long. The blade is a stainless steel. It's 154 cm, which is a very good performing steel. Again, if you want to use this knife as a cutting tool or implement, which it's meant to be, it will work perfectly for you. It's not just for flipping. It's meant to be used. As I mentioned before, the handles are titanium. They're cut from a single billet. As you can see here, they're seamless. They're not pieced together. It's just one solid piece of titanium for each handle, which is cut out. Very nice, obviously extremely strong. This does have screw construction as opposed to pins, but as I mentioned in other videos, if you have quality screws like they use here, tempered stainless steel, it's not an issue. They're not going to strip out on you. They're not going to strip when you try to turn them. They're quality screws, and with a little bit of Loctite to keep them in place, it's perfect. It's very, very functional. This has a Weehawk style blade. That is what this style is referred to or called. It has the false edge or swedge on the back. It does not come sharpened from the factory, although I do know some people who have sharpened them. And in the past, I did a trade for one, Benchmade Model 42, an older version, that had this back edge sharpened. And when you have the Weehawk style blade, you still have this portion here, which is flat. So in manipulating the knife and flipping it around, even when it bounces off your hands, you don't have to worry about that part cutting you as much, because you do have this little section here. However, for flipping purposes, I wouldn't normally recommend that to be sharpened. The only advantage to that being sharpened would be in a defensive type situation, or even penetration. Having both sides sharpened towards the tip, helps with penetration. But again, not necessary for like an EDC task, or if you're just flipping this, for recreation or fun. I really do love the Benchmade Model 42. I love all Benchmades. Not many people know this, but Benchmade has tons and tons of different Balisongs. They're not currently in production. However, they did have many, many models in the past. This is the Model 42, which implies it has a Weehawk style blade. But this exact same setup, same handles, with a spear point blade is the Model 46. The Model 47 has a pretty cool looking Tanto blade, or Tanto. The Benchmade Model 49 has a crisp blade. There's that kind of curved blade there. Very cool, although a lot of the older models are hard to find. Like I said, they're out of production. They're not made anymore. Another popular one is the Benchmade Model 43, which has a Bowie style blade, or Bowie, depending on how you say that. Also very cool. But they all have the same exact handles. They're all part of the Benchmade 4X series. So there are different variations on this knife. If you like the knife, but you know what, that blade's not really your style, they do have other ones. It's just hard to find. Like I said, out of production, you're going to have to go on the secondary market. Some of the forums, in the for sale sections, will have those from time to time. Besides having this just bare titanium, there were models that were anodized, kind of a bluish purple. Those have an A at the end of them. So example, this exact same knife with an anodized finished handle was the Benchmade Model 42A. Some models had different steels. At one point I had a 4601, which is a special run. It had a spear point blade and a D2 blade steel for it. So there are tons and tons of different variations on these knives. It's just currently in production. The Benchmade Model 42, or excuse me, the Benchmade Model 42 is still in production. So that's why I always talk about it, and it's most commonly seen. But yeah, there's tons of variants on this knife. So that's pretty much all of it, I think. This is made in the United States of America, as the blade is marked on the back. as well. That's why the price on these are expensive, or up there a little bit. Definitely out of a lot of people's range, which is unfortunate because it's just such a nice knife. And if you're getting into the hobby of flipping, it's a staple Balisong. It's the most recommended by me as well as many others, and for good reason. Price on this, if you don't know, is I'd say the lowest you're going to find this for is about 180 currently, as of at the end of 2008, December. Believe it or not, when these first came out, even this exact same model with the spring latch and everything, only about a year and a half ago to 2 years ago, you can get one of these brand new for about $100, on the secondary market, and you can get them brand new for about 140 or 150. But you know what, Benchmade, they stopped producing these as much because obviously, because of legality purposes, they sell a lot more folders than they do Balisongs. So they don't make as many, and there's a really high demand for them, but a really low supply, hence the higher price. So if you can get your hands on one of these, it really is nice. I want to mention a couple things in this video, some common questions I get about Balisongs in general. I know it's not related specific to this knife, but first thing is Loctite. People ask me, when they first get the Balisong, the screws come out. That's what I was talking about before, is Loctite. You want to take the screw out and put just a tiny little dab on the screw threads, put the screw back in, and let it dry. Those will keep them from unscrewing as you flip it around. As far as oiling, you just want to oil in the pivot areas, which is right here, in between where the handle and blade meet, on all four positions, on the left and right side of each handle. So there's 4 positions. You want to oil that. You want to move it around a little bit and then wipe off the excess oil that comes out by the blade. Also, how much blade play should there be in a knife? People say, because there's got to be wobble in a Balisong for it to function properly. However, you don't want too much wobble. Now, if you look at this, the bottom part of this channel right here, you want that to line up. And in other words, when you separate them as far as you can, you want them to line up just like that. Okay, to make a straight line all the way across. The bottom of this and the top of that, and then vice versa on the other end. The bottom of this and the top of that. So if that makes any sense, this is about how much play you want back and forth. Any more than this, it's a little bit loose. Also, if you have any problems when you get this, when you first get these, they might squeak a little bit. That oil will take care of that, no problem whatsoever. So that is the Benchmade Model 42, a very functional knife as well as a very fun knife to play with, obviously. But the point I want to make in this video is that it's not just a fun knife to flip around. It is a very useful, very functional folding knife design. And if you want to really use it hard like you do any of your nice folding knives, you certainly can. It's definitely made for it. So once again, thank you for watching the review. I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.